Call the meeting to order at 7 p.m.
Yes.
Yes.
David Harris.
Yes.
Jonathan Yankel. Sid Gaber.
Yes.
Jason Nolan.
Yes.
Francie Miller.
Yes. Okay. Public comment and recognition of guests. Welcome. Up first, we have presentations, and we have our exemplary nights, which I think most of you are here for. Up first, we will recognize our exemplary night staff members. For our exemplary night staff members, they have been recognized by their peers for their exemplary work. As a Board of Education, we want to thank you for your efforts and positive impact on Blue Ridge. From Schneider Elementary, Jamie Hammer.
Yes.
From the Intermediate Junior High, Judy Reynolds. And from the high school, Erin Tipsord. Tonight, we also recognize the exemplary actions of several students. Their actions brought them to the attention of the teachers and the principal. As a Board of Education, we appreciate your efforts and excellence. We want to say thank you for a job well done. As I say your name, come forward and stay up in front for a picture. From the high school, we have Ben Clevenger. For 8th grade, Erin Covington. Seventh grade, Lily Stout. Sixth grade, Kendall Mitchum. Fifth grade, Grayson Bentley. Fourth grade, Brennan Soliday. Third grade, Anna Crawford. Second grade, Daxton Hale. First grade, Hayden Plessner. Kindergarten, Ruth Fernandez.
All right, parents, we're going to get
Hello. All right, so tonight I'm giving my semi-annual State of Our Libraries address.
It has been about a year and a half since I've done this, so the stuff that I'm going to be sharing includes the 2024-2025 school year, as well as what we've done so far this year. So on the first slide up here, I have follow us on Facebook. Just we do have a district library Facebook page, so a lot of the pictures that I shared in the report have been posted on our library Facebook page, so if you want to know what's going on a more regular basis in our district libraries, you can follow us there. And the picture here on our main page is some of us from the library staff in our homecoming parade, thanks to Mr. Harris, who provided helped provide the convertible for us, so we were able to participate in that this year. Okay. So a quick look at our district libraries. A lot of times, people ask us, what do we do all day? So to give you an idea, as the district librarian, I teach 19 library skills classes each week, kindergarten through 6th grade, and then I also do book talks and readers advisory for junior high and high school. I alternate between 7th and 8th grade. I see 7th grade one week, 8th grade the next week, and then here at the high school, I have book talks and check out 2 Fridays out of the 4 of the month because I'm here on Fridays. And then of course I do all of the other stuff that comes along with it, all of the library administrative stuff, book orders, collaborative lessons, programs, grants, fundraisers, and all the other special projects that we do. And of course we have a full-time clerk in each building, and they oversee all of our checkouts. They do readers advisory when I'm not there. They do the shelving, the new book processing, a lot of the book displays, help out with programs and activities, and also assist with the special projects that we do. So that's just kind of a snapshot of what keeps us busy on a day-to-day basis. Okay. So I've divided the presentation into 3 different topics. The first one is looking at library collections. And some of you were on the board when I started a few years ago, and I came and I talked to you and said, we really need to do something with our library collections because they were very dated. And so that's one of the big things that I have been working on over the last 3.5 years. So here at the high school, our collection, the average publication date when we started was 1989, and now we are up to 2004. So we would like to shoot for 2010. So a collection whose average date is about 15 years old. And that may still sound a little bit old, but if you keep in mind the publication dates of a lot of classics and things like that, that's what tends to bring that number down a little bit, because obviously we don't want to get rid of something just because it was published 50 years ago if it's still relevant and good. We want to keep that. We just want a nice new edition that the kids are actually going to check out. So the special projects that we've been working on as far as the collection here at the high school include genrifying the collection, which you guys have noticed since you meet in here, they're color-coded now and divided up by genre, makes it a little easier for the kids to find what they're looking for. And we finally completed weeding. So I've gone through the entire collection and gotten rid of a lot of the books that are outdated and that needed to go away. At the intermediate junior high school, we came up to 2009 from 2001, back when I started. And again, our goal is 2010, so we're almost there at the junior high. And a huge part of that is thanks to the grants that we got from the district. And we were able to purchase, especially at the intermediate junior high school, a lot of new books for the collection. So that helped bring our publication date up there. So we've also completed weeding there. We shifted the collection around, did some rearranging, created some new sections to make it easier for the kids to find what they were looking for. And for example, one of the new sections that we created was a special young adult section for our junior high students. The feedback we were getting from our 7th and 8th graders was that they thought a lot of the books in the library were too young for them. And they weren't entirely wrong, because obviously what is appropriate for an 8th grader to read is not the same thing as what's appropriate for a 4th grader to read. And so having those things mixed together could be challenging. So we pulled out a lot of our young adult books, and anything that was recommended for ages 12 and over, we put in that young adult section. So now those are there for our junior high kids to check out. And then at Schneider, we went up from 1996 to 2002. And we've done a bunch of special projects there as well. We put all of our nonfiction books in bins for easier browsing, as well as in some of the other section. We created like a favorite section and a section for award winners. And then we also finished weeding there. So weeding is complete. It took me 3 years, 3 summers, But reading in all 3 libraries is complete. Obviously, that's an ongoing thing. I'll have to keep doing it, but that first pass is completely done. The facilities, a little bit of an update on those. This particular picture gives you an idea of what Schneider Library looked like at Halloween this year with our Halloween decorations. We've turned it into a pretty colorful space. Our chapter books are also genre-fied and color-coded there to make it easy for the kids to find. We painted an accent wall in the back, that Blue Ridge blue wall that you can see in the back, that was new, that got done right before school started this year. And we got a few other things that I'll get to in just a minute. So here at the high school, the main thing that we've done with the facility here is our relaxed seating area. You guys get to see our nice colorful rug every week when you meet, but the beanbag chairs are usually tossed in the corner, but usually those are out for the kids to use when they come in here to read, and they do make use of those. At the intermediate junior high school, we actually also got new comfortable furniture this year. I kind of went crazy on Facebook Marketplace and at Goodwill, and we got all of this for less than $200. So we got a little love seat, a couple of comfortable chairs, a couple of really nice Big Joe beanbag chairs, and a couple of footstools. So it gave the kids some comfy spots to sit while they're reading. Our beanbags there were looking pretty sad. They needed to be replaced. And then at Schneider, we also now have some comfortable seating areas. So we have places for the kids to relax and read wherever, whenever they come in and have that time. I already mentioned the accent wall, which is a pretty huge impact if you walk in there and see. It really brightened up the space. And then we were also able to get new tables and chairs there last year, which was huge because the ones that were in there, I think, were much older than I am. So having the new ones has been great. And then finally, the last section is the lessons, the programs, and the activities that we're doing with the students. So here at the high school, we've really been focusing on some programming for our high school students in an effort to get them to come into the library more often. We've done several Fun Friday activities where on Fridays during lunch we have craft activities and things like that happening in here. So in this particular picture you'll see some of our high school students doing Halloween crafts. We had a Halloween cartoon playing, we had trick-or-treat candy out for them, and we had probably 30 or more kids in here, I think, for that program. We also just started a lunch and learn program. We've done 2 presentations also on Fridays during lunch, and this is a little more, come in and learn something new. We have guest speakers. We had a lady talk about volunteering at Bromen, and then Mrs. Hieronymus did a presentation for our seniors on scholarships that they can apply for. And so we're also planning on doing more of those this year. And then we're also planning to do our annual high school used book sale, so that'll happen in early March. And just a few more pictures there. We did a pause for relaxation program the week of finals where we had a therapy dog come in for the kids so they could bring their lunch in. We had Legos and coloring sheets and kind of relaxing things for them, and they got to pet the therapy dog. Some more craft activities, one of our lunch and learn presentations, and then a picture from last year's used book sale. At the intermediate junior high school, we do an annual book fair there in October during parent-teacher conferences. We have a board game club for grades 4 through 6 that meets weekly during lunch. We do a United in Books reading incentive program for grades 4 and 5 where they can read a certain number of books and they get prizes for it. This year in 5th grade, they created some favorite book slides that I have been posting on the monitor in the lobby. So when you come in and you look at that, you'll see what some of our 5th graders' favorite books are. We also each year do the To Every Reader a Book program where each of our students gets at least 1 free book from the book fair. And then of course we have our weekly library skills classes there that focus on a variety of different things, everything from choosing what kind of books or genres that the kids like to research skills and those types of things. And a couple pictures from there, our board game club, the kids looking at some of the United in Books nominees for this year, and our United in Books cart that they can choose those books from. And then last year, some of their junior high students selecting their free books. And then at Schneider, last year we were fortunate enough to have a library fairy choose our library to be her residence. Her name was Libby. And the kids were fascinated by her. You'll get to see her little fairy door here in a picture in just a minute. This year, Libby did not come back, but instead we had Mabel the Book Witch, who visited us during the month of October for our Halloween festivities. We did last year and will again be doing this year some activities for Read Across America. That's in March. It celebrates Dr. Seuss's birthday, including a drop-in and read program where parents can stop in on the Monday of that week and read for up to 30 minutes with their student in the library at Schneider. We do 2 book fairs a year at Schneider. We also do a United in Books Reader's Choice Award there. We do it a little bit differently than we do at the intermediate junior high school. At Schneider, we read 4 books together in library skills class, and then the kids get to vote on which was their favorite. And then during Read Across America week, we have an assembly and we announce what the winner is. So it's a book that they voted for. Last year it was a book called Invasion of the Unicorns by an author named David Biederzicki, and he is going to be coming and doing an author visit for our libraries in April. So I haven't told the kids that yet, but I know they're going to be super excited because they still talk about that book. So you'll also see we have a set of reading buddies. Those are stuffed animals, Build-A-Bear animals that the kids get to read to. You'll see those in that picture right there with a couple of our kindergarten students. We do the To Every Reader a Book program there as well, where the kids get to pick a free book off the book fair. That makes our book fairs a little more equitable. Book fairs are great fundraisers for our libraries, but of course it's kind of heartbreaking when you have kids who say, they can't afford to buy a book, and so this way everybody gets one. And then our library skills classes there as well. And then a few pictures. You'll see there in the upper left corner, that's our library fairy door and the mailbox where the kids can leave her notes. And in the upper right corner, you will see one of the notes that was left to our library fairy. We did a Reading in the Dark program for Halloween this year, so you'll see one of our flashlight readers there. A picture of our new tables and chairs with some of our passive programming on it. We put out jigsaw puzzles and coloring and stuff like that for the kids. And then the center picture there is our United in Books reader from last year, Invasion of the Unicorns. So it's the author of that particular book that will be coming to visit us next month. So, our goals, I have really 2 goals for the next year. One of them is to increase collaboration with teachers. The library skills that I teach are best taught in context with what they're doing in class, not in isolation, just in a library skills class. So the more I can tie in what I'm teaching to what they're doing in the classroom, the more it's going to stick with the kids and stay with them. And then we want to increase programming and library use at the junior high and high school. As you guys can imagine, that's when we start to lose the kids as readers and as library users. And that's also when I stop having a fixed schedule. I don't see the junior high and high school kids as regularly, weekly, as I do the younger ones. So we're always trying to come up with ways to encourage them to come in and use the library. So those are our 2 big goals for the next year. So that's all I have for you. Any questions?
Anita, you and your staff do a wonderful job.
Well, thank you very much.
It's always
I
a pleasure
appreciate it.
working with you, and I'm going to tell you, working at Schneider Library as a clerk's a lot of work.
It can be, yes,
That's good.
but it's also a ton of fun because the kids get so excited about things.
Yeah, Anita has great vision. It's a great program. I
Right.
mean, from the programming that you've increased over the years, modernizing the library, I mean, the space alone is so welcoming and inviting. So you've done
Thank
a great
you.
job. Thank you.
Thank you. It has been one of the things that I really enjoy. So, yeah, thank you. Okay.
Up next, we have communication, the IASB talking points in the board packet. Then committee reports.
Negotiations meeting just met, committee just met, I should say, at 6 o'clock tonight. We just covered some potential negotiation topics and just kind of looked at some financial information, preparing for bargaining here in the near future.
And then administrative reports.
I'm first, okay. I'm going to start with celebrating our counselors. And so we had Counselor Week a couple weeks ago, last week. Time is flying by, but we're just very thankful for the counselors. They do a lot of great work. They provide a welcoming space. They provide support for our students, social emotional development. They help build resilience in our students. addressing academic needs. I mean, a lot of it is sometimes unseen too. They do a lot of behind the scenes things in some of those spaces. So we're just very thankful that we have the opportunity to work with a great group of professionals, and they provide a very meaningful and impactful programming for our students. So thank you to Mrs. Hieronymus, Ms. Donaldson, and then Ms. Clayton. I appreciate what they do. Early out teacher collaboration planning, that has been a big focus over the last month and beyond. So administrative team has continued to work closely with our instructional leadership team, looking at how we can provide supportive and meaningful early out time. And so we talked a little bit at our last board meeting during our good of the cause discussion, really identifying some of those essential standards and developing really clear focuses for our collaboration times moving forward, really with the goal of promoting teacher collaboration, conversations about student learning and student data, and just providing that limited resource to provide teachers time to just really maximize their potential in learning, which obviously will impact student outcomes in a positive way. So last time you had asked for me to kind of put together an agenda that kind of outlines some specifics, and so what you have in your board packet is a breakdown. Kind of the first couple high school, junior high, are kind of some overarching goals, kind of some big ideas that will be focuses, all related to that essential standard idea. And then kind of stemming out, we wanted to provide more of a precise kind of agenda of what a meeting would look like and what that series of meetings would look like, so you could see the growth and progression. That's listed in there, so you can see an example of that. One of the big things we've had conversations about, ILT teams have all discussed, is they really want this to be, an opportunity for teachers to have dialogue with one another about student data, about learning, whether it's the planning side to make sure that we're teaching these essential pieces, or whether it's examining common assessments, building those, examining student data to really drive instruction moving forward and pivot to learning or a lack of learning, right? We have situations where students aren't getting the skills they need. We want to have time to be able to identify that and develop a direction to make sure students get those skills and we teach. But there's a lot there. I wanted to see kind of what questions that you had as this came up. You had time hopefully to look through, and I wanted to see questions or thoughts.
The only question I had was, did you find any other plans for possible storing of kids?
So I really wanted to have this, yes, for opportunities for student engagement when students aren't here, yes. So last time we left, one of the conversations was we would put out a survey. I have a survey ready to go. My goal would be on my board report, basically this is kind of what I utilize to give to the community. I'm gonna update it and add the early out survey and information so that we can get that information out to parents to see, are there barriers, how much support do families need, so that we can provide programming here in the buildings for families that need that. And so that is really the next step. I just wanted to make sure tonight you guys had a chance to look over this information and see what questions you had. My next step will be to send out parent information, start collecting that data. My goal is to hopefully have a calendar ready to go at the board. It will be ready to go at the March board meeting. And so that would include things like those early out times. It would include just a variety of information and be ready to go. So I want to make sure that at that next board meeting, we have the data from parents to see what they need. We have a plan as far as how we support families to remove some of those barriers so that they have a place to go when school does get out early. And then have that calendar and everything ready to go so people can plan, 6 months in advance.
Will that be going home in the students' book bags? Then?
I can do both. Yeah. So I can do the newsletter. We can do I can do a special kind of a letter that would go out that would talk directly about that, and I'll put it out on my newsletter. Then I can send a letter home to families. I know, like in K3, that's a great way. People do the paper very often. When we get, 4th to 6th, I think works pretty well. When you start to get 7 through 12, sometimes those items tend to wander or not make it to the space we're hoping to get them to. But yes, we will figure out a couple of methods to get the information home.
I was going to say, it can be kind of difficult sometimes to make sure that it's getting communicated
Yes.
to everybody.
Yep. So yeah, we'll put that out through Thrill-Share, and then we'll put some paper stuff home as well. So that way, it's hopefully received in multiple ways. Yeah.
And same with, like where you put your superintendent reports out.
Yep.
Like to everywhere. All right,
Yep.
cool.
Yep.
Okay, everybody's-
Yes, and we can still continue to do communication, you know, we'll have kindergarten registration coming up, we have some other events that take place, you know, and we can start to get that word out and get information out so people are aware. Yeah, because we want to make sure that we're communicating with our stakeholders.
Yeah. Is it gonna be posted on the website?
It'll go, yeah, it'll all go out to Thrillshare, so it'll go to app, email, it goes through our social media platforms, and that newsletter goes out through all those spaces.
Okay. Just wanna make sure, sometimes it goes out all these different places and people still can't find it. So, talk to somebody.
Yeah.
That's why I'm
Yeah.
bringing it up.
Yeah, well, we can talk about it as an admin team to see if there's any other avenues that we can explore to get information out. You know, hopefully people are watching board meetings and we can get, you know, that's one aspect we've talked about the last couple of months. You know, so, but yeah, I mean, we'll utilize Thrillshare to get it out to all of our social media platforms, app, website, and we can see what other things that we, paper, you know, home. We'll have a dialogue and see kind of what other ways that we might be beneficial for information we share. Okay, I think that's all I have for my report. So we have Mr. Easter. Oh, we're gonna go.
Switching it up.
Wow, we're gonna go junior high. Okay.
Ready to make some.
Yeah. Nothing.
Just talk about that.
Okay. Hello? No?
No, it's not.
I'll just be loud. As you guys looked over that, just wanted, before we move on, did you guys have any questions about some of the big ideas, kind of with the early out collaborative thing for Mansfield campus? Just wanted to make sure. Okay. We'll have more to come around that. I just want to share some good highlights. We had at the end of January, we had our academic awards assembly that I briefly talked about last month. It was super exciting to recognize our kids for their academic achievements and their good attendance. It was a great time. We got some great pictures and lots of recognition that day. And the kids, just seeing the kids celebrating each other is another positive aspect of that that I don't want to overlook. Our volleyball team is quickly wrapping up their season this Saturday. We're hosting the SVC 7th grade volleyball showcase. So if you have nothing to do, we've got 4 games starting at 9 o'clock in our junior high gym. The following Friday, our 8th graders will travel to Tri-Valley for their showcase. And then that Saturday, the next day over, our 7th graders will travel to Milford for their regional game. And the following weekend will be our 8th graders going to St. Matthew's over in Champaign. We'll have track season starting soon. They met last week with the high school staff to try to navigate time around the new track. That's going to be a pretty exciting change for everyone. We are planning for our state testing coming up, so the window for the state opens up on the 2nd. My experience in the past is it's okay to be second sometimes and let that first week kind of go by and let the kinks, there's always something that happens around the state for those schools that go that very first week of the window opening. So we're going to go the second week. We're going to do 1 test a day. We actually met with our collaborative teams this week to kind of go over the draft of that schedule, both on the junior high side and the intermediate side. We're going to do 1 test a day over 5 days because there's 3 math tests and 2 ELA tests this year. So 5 total. And then the following week we'll do our makeups right before the kids are dismissed for spring break. It's hard to believe that's coming up so fast, but here we are, coming up quickly. And then they take at 5th and 8th grade, they also take the Illinois Science Assessment. And so actually that one was a little bit larger and we'll take that after spring break. We just find that our kids before spring break seem a little more motivated. After spring break, there's a few of our students that are like, wait, we're on the downward go. And so we want to make sure that those assessments are the best representation of what they know. So that's one of the reasons we do it before. And last but not least, starting this afternoon, we had our tryouts for Prince Charmless, which is going to be our spring play. It is a comedic performance featuring a storyline centered around a well-meaning but hapless prince, his anxious parents, and a cast of eccentric princesses. So, like I said, today and Friday will be the tryouts. Then they'll start doing some regular practices, and our performances will be that weekend of April 23rd to the 26th. So we're excited about that. Any questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Any questions about the Snyder? I got a little in the weeds. I was the one who actually made like the minute-by-minute agenda. Any questions on that? Okay. I'm going to tell you that February is really hard for educators. So if you happen upon a teacher, just giving them a pat on the back or a warm hug would go far, I think, this month. Am I right? Yeah. One thing I do want to mention, I want to touch on early outs because Sig, you brought up a really good point last time about, we want kids in school. And especially after the COVID experience, we all learned what it means to not have kids in school, and so we want to make sure that we have kids in school. And if we don't have kids in school, whatever we're doing outside of school needs to have as big of an impact on their education as having them in school. So in talking with our instructional leadership team, one of our big questions was, how is what we are planning for these days or what we're going to do on these days going to positively impact student achievement or student learning? And our leadership team was very passionate about the fact that there needs to be a structure and there needs to be some kind of artifact or outcome identified for that time together. They were very specific in saying they don't want this to be a time where everybody goes into their rooms, closes the doors, and grades papers. But when Anita was up here earlier, it touched on one of the points that we talked about as a leadership team, and that is, kids shine in different ways. And if you have an opportunity to really collaborate, our new ELA curriculum aligns or gives opportunities to align really well to music and art and physical movement and library. We don't have time for those kinds of collaborations. And so to give kids an opportunity to shine through physical movement but still connected to the curriculum would be an amazing opportunity for those, for kids who aren't just always seen as book smart. And having time to actually plan for that would be powerful. So I just want you to know, that's a great question, and that's in the front of our mind. Another big thing, Bert touched on the state standardized testing. At our school, third graders are really the only ones who take that. So it isn't, it's hard sometimes for kindergarten, first and second grade teachers to really understand the relevance of what's being tested on IAR. So to be able to work as vertical teams to understand how what you are doing in pre-K and kindergarten is affecting what happens when they get to third grade would also be a really important use of time, because sometimes we lose sight of that. We just think, oh, we don't have to worry about that till they get to Mansfield, but it's aligned to the state standards. So if what we're doing in kindergarten is aligned to the state standards, we're going to see results of that in third grade on that assessment. Okay, enough of that. January behavior referrals, we are still on track to have less than 125 referrals by the end of the year for physical aggression, because right now we are sitting at 53. Of course, we've all been inside because of the snow and the cold. So they haven't really had a chance to run around and run into each other. So as the weather warms up, we're probably anticipating some more hands-on. But I did end up buying some more recess equipment, and I'm telling you, do you remember those skip-it things? The things that the ring you put around your foot, and you're like, come on, Francie, come on. Okay.
In our house, so.
So it was like, did you see the kids going after those?
They had no idea what they were.
No, but once they got them, it was like I was giving away $20 bills. Like, they were so excited to run out there for those. So we've added some different recess equipment. We're going to keep adding some more items and trying to teach them some different games. So it's not always tag. It's not always, spider. So that's one of our goals. Another one of our goals is 95% average daily attendance. And with the gracious help of some parents who received 5-day attendance letters, we figured out that we had coded our e-learning days incorrectly, and we marked them as absences. So we will go back in and with the help of Andrea, Miss Mary will get all those corrected and then we'll get our attendance updated. Because when you look at our attendance, it's abysmal. It's 86% daily attendance, which is not accurate at all. So we'll get that corrected. One of the things I do want to mention, Megan Hardesty is amazing at working hard to find subs for all of our schools. And I know that she's also going with Mr. Kirkton to ISU for a job fair to get a few more subs. Today we had IEPs all day, and during IEPs, we need 2 subs to travel to relieve those teachers. Both of those subs canceled today. So anytime subs cancel, we end up pulling either myself or Mrs. Diener or Mrs. Trimble if she's there. Ms. Clayton is our counselor, she'll chip in sometimes. If Mr. Norsworthy isn't teaching a class, our music teacher, he'll chip in sometimes. What else did I do today? Who? Title, we cancel our title groups, so our kids who need the most support are not getting to go to their groups because we need their teachers to teach classes. So any recruitment you can do of substitute teachers, we
They're working
are,
on it.
I know, we are a fun place
We're gonna
to be.
figure it out.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I literally have like, and again, they don't have a lot of experience subbing, but they're like
Listen.
brand new unified graduates that just graduated in
Great.
December, and they're trying to find an interim.
Great, great.
They're not really going into teaching, but I was like, oh, you'd be really good. We'd love to have you. And they're on with the ROE, but like, I'll see the one girl tomorrow. She's like, I've not got a call from any district. So she's like,
Okay, well, then she's not on our list, clearly.
Yeah.
Can you send me her name?
yeah.
I'll call
We're
her.
gonna get all of
Okay.
them.
Okay, I actually just had a sub cancel for tomorrow, so like, literally, I will call her tonight.
And I told her, I said, well, maybe they're just not needing people. I don't know how you haven't got called. I'm like,
No, yeah, we,
can
yeah,
utilize subs
But I do
daily.
encourage a lot of like our students that hang around for a while, like,
yeah,
you've got that bachelor's, what are you doing?
go make some
They're
money.
like, well, they're waitressing, and I'm like, well, in the daytime, we'd love to have you.
Well, and we've had some good experiences with people who didn't ever intend to go into education,
Right.
who have come and done some subbing and have
Yeah.
come and basically worked every day and done
Yep.
really well. So
Yep.
it's been a good opportunity.
So, yep, get some subs, and then, the only other thing, well, 2 things. One is we have our Light Up the Night event on February 21st, if anybody wants to come out to the high school and join us. We would love to see you. And then the other thing is just thank you again and again and again for approving the playground. Everybody is very excited, so our 3rd graders are not because they're moving on. But everybody else is very excited to have these updated play spaces, so thank you for all of that.
I feel like some of the kids aren't aware. I was at recess last week and we were talking about it.
I need to print out some big pictures, I
And
think.
so I was like talking and they were like, but we're keeping this. And I'm like, I don't think we are. They're like, but we're keeping this. And I'm like, I don't think that's on the
Six trying to
picture.
like start a revolution.
But
We're
it was
gonna
funny
keep the
because
big
they were
slides.
like, oh, but I play on it. I'm like, let's not talk about the playground. And I think they were excited about your new equipment, but they were like banging on the window for it to be brought out. And so
Oh!
Mrs. Diener did not allow them to bring it
Oh, yeah, no, we don't, that's not how we act.
But I
No,
was like, why are we so excited about the playground stuff today? That must have been
those
why.
skip it's.
Because I was like, why are they all banging on the window? Like, it was aggressive. And Mary was very funny telling them that because of your behavior, you will not get this today.
Yeah, back away, back away.
I was like, okay.
Again, I mean, how can you,
Kindergarten, 1st grade, there's something.
I'll make sure next time they're beating on the walls with slides.
I'm telling you, we can transport one to your backyard.
No, yeah.
For the low, low price of
auction those
$500.
off.
It would just,
Pretty reasonable, really.
Auction off.
but
Auction.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
piece
Doing that
of the
with
privilege.
the old equipment and the uniforms and stuff, right?
I
Stuff
feel
that
like some
works,
of
yeah,
them
equipment,
could
yeah.
buy some of that.
I
Oh, yeah.
think people would.
Oh, yeah.
Some of them,
3 hours in.
Yeah, somebody named Sid.
That would
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
awesome.
Okay, any questions?
no.
All right.
Six by now, like, yeah. Someone tell us why.
All right, oh no, don't get out of me yet. Some updates. Last time I was here, we talked a lot about some upcoming sessions. I was going to have to talk to people about a change in how we recognize graduates. So just kind of how that went. We had a community meeting, about 10 folks showed up. Sig's wife was there. And it was It was good, but we realized we weren't getting a wide swath of voices. Kelly Soliday was one of the people that was at it, and she said, you know what, I'm the only parent who's here from the class of 2030, and that might be the first one impacted. So we kind of came up with a plan really quickly we had our future freshman night that was coming up in a couple of weeks, and we said, you know what, I'll invite folks to stay after we're done with that and get a quick introduction to the things that we're seeing and what we're considering, and get some input, and then figure out next steps. So from that first meeting, then we had the second one with the future freshman night, and had about 10 families stay that night, and really great insight, great feedback. We have some next steps, some things we need to look into, and some calculations we need to do. And then, to Sig's point about getting information out more effectively, we'll do some flyers that we'll send home with the younger kids, and through some of the Mansfield students as well. Just get that word out better, because the Thrill Share post that I put out there, since it didn't have a picture and bells and whistles and everything, a lot of people are like, I ignore that. Like, I'm not going to read that if it's not dancing lights and stuff. So we'll work on making that a little bit more better communicated in more facets. So I think we really got some fantastic feedback on that freshman night, and have a good idea of how to head. Let's see, what's going on at the high school now? You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to start like all of them. And does anybody have any questions about the high school discussion of what we would do with the early out? I will say high school's different. I always say this all the time. We have different challenges. Whereas at the second grade building next door, there might be, 3 second grade teachers. So they all teach second grade. They're teaching the same reading curriculum, the same math curriculum. It's a perfect time for them to get together and talk about stuff. I have one person that teaches U.S. history. One person teaches freshman English. One person teaches band. One person teaches PE. There's not that opportunity for collaboration in that regard at a school like ours for the high school. So we have to come up with different creative ways, and have to think of what are the things that building-wide we should be focusing on. So that's why the focus of ours was kind of ELA and math. Those are 2 of the components of that house that go into our report card. They're major pieces of the ACT assessment that impact all kids. So that was kind of part of our focus. So anyway, just that's the thinking that went into that, why we went with just ELA and math, and not science and social studies and things like that. But down the road. What's going on at the high school? We just wrapped up. Students should have all of their course requests in for their classes for next year. Hopefully those are all done, because that's the main factor in what we use to determine what next year's master schedule looks like. We want to make sure that as many things line up so that kids can get the classes that they need and want. So to me, that's the stepping stone into the beginning of the next year, because once I have all that information in, it's fun to start looking at what that is, and that's when my brain starts realizing that kids who are juniors, that are now they're in those senior classes, because they'll be seniors right around the corner. So really, it's kind of frightening. But let's see. Also on the horizon, next week is National FFA Week. So Blue Ridge is one of 9,000 schools across the country, and Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico, and that celebrates that week and recognizes our chapter, and does things to highlight the things that they do, for students. So be a fun, crazy week next week. Always culminated with there's a career fair on Thursday, and then the barnyard on Friday. I know all the little kids look forward to coming over and seeing the barnyard animals on Friday. So that'll be that. And hard to believe, but right after that is March, and we get into that second week of March. Another big event we have is the Fine Arts Expo on March 10th. So we won't have a board meeting before then. So make sure that I know I put it on the calendar, but I'll make sure you highlight that. You get to see our students' artwork hanging in the hallways and displayed in the hallways is always great. The drama department does some skits. The band plays some songs. I mean, it's really a cool event. So make it if you can. Questions? Okay.
Okay, I just have a few things that I wanted to highlight. The first one is just to kind of give you a follow-up from something that I discussed or maybe briefly mentioned last month. Next week, I'll have a meeting with EIU to discuss adding an additional 2 educational pathway courses. Those would include education in a diverse society, and then the second one would be the whole child. So I'll have an update for you next month for hopefully bringing those courses to you with descriptions so that you can approve them. If you remember when we approved the high school course catalog for next year, we said that these classes might be coming. So I'm working on those. Jacqueline Meisner and I met with UIUC to explore the Ag Sustainability dual credit course. Jacqueline's really interested. We're still kind of, forming that groundwork right now. It's more informational. That would not start until the 27-28 school year, but we're working on that. One thing that I'm really excited about is in our education pathway course, we have 3 young ladies who are taking that and 1 male who is in that class. And the 3 girls received scholarships to attend the Women in Education Conference, which is in Peoria at the end of March. And so Ms. McMurray, myself, and Mrs. Parson will be taking them to attend that. And then one of the students has also been asked to sit on a panel that'll be made up of educators, of those who are thinking about going into education, maybe a first-year teacher, maybe a more veteran teacher. We don't know the questions yet, but I'm excited to see how that trip goes. I'm sure it's going to be a great experience for them. That class is also getting ready to set up a field trip to visit EIU, visit their library, meet with one of their deans of students, just to kind of get an overview of what college life is like and give them an opportunity to ask questions. We're hoping that field trip will take place in March as well. And then finally, I kind of got ahead of myself in my board report. I was thinking about what I was doing now, but then thinking about what I was going to be doing. And so I said it's our 4th book study of the year. We are going to have 4 book studies this year, but I'm on the 3rd book study right now, which is Hacking Questions by Connie Hamilton. And I just wanted to let you know, if you're ever interested in reading one of the books that we're reading, I'd be glad to share mine with you after I'm finished, as long as you don't mind my personal notes and my highlights. So we've done 3 so far. We're going to follow up in March or April with Hacking Group Work will be our next book study. So, do you have any questions?
And then you have the rest of the reports in your board packet. Up next is approval of consent items. Are there any questions about consent items? If not, I need a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda items listed on attachment A as presented.
So moved.
Sid?
Second.
Jason?
Jonathan Yeagle, Jason Nolan,
Yes.
David Harris,
Yes.
Sig Enger,
Yes.
Jonathan Larson,
Yes.
Josh Hahn,
Yes.
Francie Miller.
Yes. Up next is old business, the Schneider and Intermediate Junior High Masonry Project.
All right, also known as the Tuck Pointing Project. So this project looks at a variety of interior and exterior work that we have at both buildings. The exterior work includes things like masonry cleaning, tuck pointing, replacement of damaged bricks, installation of flashing, new steel lintels, replacing wood soffits that have been destroyed by water and then leaking. Concrete repair, stone repair, painting, just to name a few. And you can see some of the things that are listed there. Concrete foundation wall repair, VRHHS, that was another one of the pieces that was listed there. So this is all utilized using Fund 90. This is our HLS funds. When we originally had received going out for bids, the thought from the architect was around, as far as the cost, it'd be somewhere between $450,000 and $500,000. This is money that we did bond out for a long time ago, knowing that we had this 10-year survey. The bid came way under what was originally quoted. You can see that base bid at $318,000. And there was 2 alternate bids that are included in there that we would like to also to approve tonight. Basically, if you look at both of the buildings, after they do all the tuck pointing, the goal would be is that they would go through and kind of wash, chemical wash, acid wash, I think is what they could, to get rid of some of the mildew and other things growing. If you look at Snyder for sure, you can see this like black growing on the brick. What they would do with these alternate bids is go through, clean the entire brick, and then put a sealant on it. So hopefully it will reduce that from occurring in the future. From just a functional standpoint and aesthetic standpoint, I think it's the right thing to do, especially with the bid coming in so low. So my recommendation is to approve the Autobomb bid. You can see there's quite a change as far as the cost goes from bid to bid there. Any questions for me? This work would be done over the summer if it's approved.
Are they able to get it done in the summer, all
Yep.
of it?
Yep.
Okay. Was there any contingency if they get into the structural part of the gym?
So there is, they call it like unit price bids, I think is how it turns. You may have a little bit more knowledge. So basically they do bids for a certain area, and then if you look at that bid sheet, it's broken down into unit price number 1, number 2, and number 3. Forgive me, I don't remember exactly what the first one is. I believe something per linear foot. I can't remember the exact part of that. The second part is each brick, $50 a brick, $45 a brick, because they have this number originally, but then if it goes beyond, because of what you just said, they find more issues, these unit prices then come into play. The last number on number 3 is actually plastering. You can see that first bid that we received, which obviously we're not going with, but it was $1,000 per square foot to plaster. And then you go, the bid that we're looking at goes all the way down to $5 a square foot. So it's really interesting, the discrepancy in those unit prices.
Put the decimal place around.
No, we asked the same question. Yeah. I think it's because it's more of maybe they don't work in plaster, and so they hire out for that, and so they have to pay, I don't know. It was, the first 2 bids, it was like $1,000 a square foot in plaster, and you look at the next bid when it came up, it's $35 a square foot, and I turned and looked at our O&M supervisor, and I'm like, how is there a $965 difference per square foot in the same job? But, yeah. So anyways, we didn't go with either one of those though, and we went with the best bid that we have.
And that was IGW's recommendations?
Yes, IGW recommended that we go with our bond and that we do both the bid and the 2 alternate bids.
Are there any questions? If not, I need a motion and a second to approve the masonry project bid from Autobomb Company for Blue Ridge CUSD number 18 as presented.
So moved.
I'll second.
Larson and Josh?
Jason Nolan,
Yes.
Sandy Yeager,
Yes.
David Harris,
Yes.
Jonathan Larson,
Yes.
Josh Hahn,
Yes.
Jonathan Gable, Francie Miller.
Yes. Up next is new business, staffing for FY27.
So this one starts out just looking at staffing for next year at VRHHS. When you look at the staffing as far as 4 through 6 goes, actually all the way now K through 5, we have 3 sections of all of our grade levels. Next year, we currently have a 5th grade group that has around 52 kids. We typically seem to get more and more kids every year. And so right now, if we were to put those 2 groups, right now it's 3 sections in 5th grade. If it were moving to 6th grade, it would be 2 sections at like 26 kids. It's a lot of kids in one space. And just sometimes due to dynamics of students and just a variety of other things, creating those smaller class sizes creates a more engaging, kind of targeted instructional space. So One thing that we would like to do is to add a 6th grade section for next year, to just make that a more productive and manageable learning environment.
Are we gonna have the same conversation next year for 7th grade then? Or is it kind of wait till see?
So, with our intermediate classrooms, we did our self-contained classrooms, that those kids stay with them for most of the day except for switching out for specials. On the other wing, our junior high, they're already divided into 3 sections, and so much more manageable groups. My first year there, I think we had 2 large sections, and then as we grew, we needed to make those into 3. And that fits within our current staff and our spaces to have those 3 sections of both 7th and 8th grade. And when that school opened back in 2013, all 3, so there's 9 classrooms, each grade level had 3 classrooms originally.
And on the other end of that, 5th grade, leaving the 3 sections for 5th grade, then how many are coming with our 5th grade?
Is it 60?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments? If not, I need a motion and a second to approve a 6th grade teacher position for Blue Ridge CUSD number 18 as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Sid, Larson,
Sager,
Yes.
David Harris,
Yes.
Jonathan Larson,
Yes.
Josh Hunt,
Yes.
Jonathan Gable, Jason Miller,
Yes.
Lindsay Miller.
yes. I feel like everyone's sick around here. It's like no one has good voice at school, works at the school.
This is good.
Yeah,
I'm
it's going way
like-
better actually.
Like,
Brian's going down the other end now. I think his voice has gotten worse as the day goes on.
move over, guys. Okay, up next, we have Schneider classroom conversion.
All right, so I'm sure Ms. McMurray will have some things to share for this one as well. Some of the conversation that we've been looking at is looking at how can we create more instructional space at Snyder. It's a small space already, and I shouldn't say small, but we've utilized a majority of the spaces. So one of the conversations has been to look at the storage space that is on the southwest side of the building, right next to the gym. Back in the day, it used to be an old locker room. And what we would like to do right currently is a pretty large storage space. What we're looking at doing is basically turning that into a functional classroom. It would be a smaller classroom. It wouldn't be a large classroom like most of our classrooms, but we could still provide productive and engaging lessons in that space. So I don't know, Sunny, if you want to talk a little bit.
More of a, like an office, not, well, it would be a learning space.
It would be a learning space, but yeah, it's not going to be like a traditional first grade or third grade, something like that. So we're still trying to figure out what might that look like. There's some ideas and things that are out there, but we haven't finalized everything. With that being said, in order to turn it into more of a learning space in some way, shape, or form, we would need to put in some new flooring, it would need some updated lighting, it would need a couple of electrical outlets. We have to look at some HVAC potential things that may come up. Jonathan had some good questions he shared with me. We're gonna have some dialogue with the architect. He's gonna do a walkthrough just to kind of look and see about that space and what it would take to, you know, adjust and create it into a learning space in some way, shape, or form. I'm also gonna reach out to the regional superintendent just to have some conversations about building permits and some other things to see what would need to be done in order to adjust that space into more of a learning space. So I don't have costs yet, that's kind of, but I just want to kind of put it on your radar and let you know that this is something that we're looking into. It allows us some more flexibility potentially with our schedule, depending on how we adjust classrooms and so on. So we're just kind of in the beginning process of this, but just wanted to kind of share with you. See if you have any questions.
Where are these closets? Current closets, future learning environment?
Well, it's not really a closet, so it is a.
I mean, it's a former locker room.
It's a former locker
And one of our
room.
special education
Yeah.
I know
classrooms
what it
is actually another locker room, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
So this is the
Yeah.
male locker room. The female locker room is currently being used as a learning space.
And it's shabby.
It's beautiful.
Where the girls' locker room was?
Here was my original idea.
They must have done something since I was in there.
My original idea was, we got a lot of land back there, let's just build a new school.
Oh.
I got told no.
There's a lot of conversations that would have to be had. Yeah. I said, that's not in the near future by any means. So, but I want to look at a temporary solution that allows us some more flexibility potentially with our schedule. So that's what we're looking at. To me, it's more of a minimal cost as opposed to some other options that are available, but I still think it could be a productive space. So.
And it's a space under the stairs.
So no, not really. It's directly under a classroom. So basically,
You go to it under the stairs.
yes,
Correct.
kind of.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes,
So
you
say
walk
if
through
you
that
come off
space.
the playground, you take a left.
This is not the
Yeah.
Harry Potter closet bedroom.
No. I would be
that's
happy
where
to
you go
show
to it.
anyone. Yeah, we could go afterwards if you want to take a look, or give me a call. We can come take a look. Yeah.
Come to lunch with your son and
There you go.
recess. Okay.
Yeah.
Plan to skip it.
So no action or anything right now, but I just wanted to put it on your radar and to make sure you're aware. If you want to go over and take a look, I'd be happy to do so, whether it's tonight or at a different time. That works for me. Just let me know.
If there are no other questions about that, I need a motion and a second to move from open session to closed session for collective bargaining negotiation matters between the public body and its employees or representatives for deliberations concerning salary schedules for one or more classes of employees, the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, dismissal, or of specific employees of the district at 8:01.
So moved.
Second?
I think it was Jason that said,
Yes.
there's a lot of
David Harris,
Yes.
Jonathan Watson,
Yes.
Josh Hunt,
Yes.
Jonathan Gable, Jason Nolan,
Yes.
Sam Weaver,
Yes.
Francie Miller.
yes.